Anyone familiar with the song? I love the words, right? Fireworks. I mean, we are facing a lot of. Just listen to it. Do you ever feel very deep, like this plastic bag just blowing in the wind, and really feeling completely out of control, right? So we have to ignite, be the light within, and let it shine. Thank you so much for joining me. This is my 13th Wednesday Facebook Live, and I really appreciate everyone's positive comments. Let me just adjust this real quick. And I just really feel honored to have today's special guest. She's from Kauai, and she is Deslynn Jaquias. She's, to me, a master compassion lady on Kauai. She is a grief and confidence coach. She has gone through just incredible challenges in her life, and today she will share with parents how are we going to handle the frustrations, the grief. We're actually grieving what used to be, right? The old way of teaching, just knowing that your kids will be in school for the entire day and the routine is messed up. We don't even know, is there going to be distance learning, part-time? What's going to happen during the distance learning? What's going to happen in the classroom with the social distancing and the safety precautions? So, hey, Chris, thanks for watching and joining us. And let's welcome Deslynn. I know that there
Hey! So we don't know what's happening. Can you hear me, Joe? I can't hear you. Uh-oh. I can't really hear you. We are having difficulties. Yeah, we can't really hear you.
I think we're going to try again to bring her on. Okay, so let's try again. And hopefully we will hear. What's going on? You want to try one more time? There's a lot of echo and we can't hear you. Maybe, maybe perfect.
Oh, that's so weird because normally it works. It's
Yay,
okay.
we have her.
And the electricity is back on.
Yay, you see? Yeah, she didn't have electricity, and now all is right with the world. We can hear you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome. Your hair looks so pretty.
Oh, thanks. Decided to do like the old style. You know what? Let's sleep with curlers and see what happens.
No, it kind of reminds me of Charlie's Angels. You know how like Farrah Fawcett? I love it. It has body.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hi, Alexis.
Alexis is here. Chris from Louisiana, Austin, Texas, Louisiana. I'm sure someone from Hawaii should be here.
Yeah. Aloha. Go big or go home in Texas. I always tell them that. They're like, yes, go big or go home. So I'm excited to jump on this live with you. Thank you so much for the introduction, even though I couldn't see that.
That's okay. We could feel it. We could feel. Yeah, they could.
Feel the love with
We could
my,
feel your
like I'm,
love. It was like a silent Charlie Chaplin thing, but we could feel it, Jess.
the great thing is I'm so animated that it makes up for the ability for you not to
Oh,
hear me.
definitely. You could do our whole Facebook Live, just do it, and people would be like, yes, I hear her without hearing her.
I was a cheerleader, so I'm my mom's most dramatic. Aloha, I see Sacramento's here.
Yes, we have Sacramento, we have Texas, we have Louisiana. I'm sure someone from Oahu or Kauai will come on.
It's okay. Everybody's relaxing in Hawaii and we're online
Yes,
doing a
yes.
live.
It's like 9:34. Some people are just starting their day.
Yeah,
So let's talk about, yeah, sorry.
I just got off of doing a live this morning at 7:30 a.m. Discussing
Wow.
about overcoming loss, and it was great early, but it was just a great experience to be in a group with other speakers from all over the world. But I only had one person on the live with me, so he said he wished he was relaxing in Hawaii. It's great out here because there's hardly anyone here. I mean, there's some visitors, but not really. So it's a great time to be home.
Well, and George grew up here, and then now he's been living in California for decades. But I think we can virtually experience Hawaii, and that's the whole beauty of virtual anything, right? We can go to Paris, we can go anywhere. And so I'm so happy that you get to share virtually tips for parents on how to handle this is like a mini loss, right? What we're going through.
Oh yeah. Well, for some, it's a major loss if it
Yeah,
affected
major,
their
major loss.
jobs.
Yes. No, I mean
Yeah.
the whole children, like the whole school and not knowing, that's we don't know. A lot of people. Oh, Kaniel, hey boy.
Windward. Yeah, so I'm excited to share with you guys about, like, with this whole pandemic and school's about to start. Um, I learned at a young age. Yes, two Kauai girls are on here.
Two Hawaii
Whoop
girls,
whoop.
yes.
And two Oahu people. So as far as like with the pandemic, I learned at a young age about resilience and learning to just deal with hardship. Because Alexis can remember, but back in 1982, Kauai was hit with our first hurricane, Eva, and it was when I was in second grade, and the house that we lived in at the time, it was so old that the roof collapsed, and so we lost our home. And school wasn't even an issue because Kauai had no electricity and no running water. And then 10 years later, so we our
I
family had
know.
to our family had to move from one town, Kapa'a, into town like near the airport, Lihui, but we ended up mainly being in Honolulu. And then 10 years after that, we got hit again by another hurricane, Hurricane Iniki. And that was right. Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah. And then when I was going into my senior year, like September, right when the senior is supposed to start, Hurricane Iniki hit. And again, no electricity, no running water. And so when you look at this pandemic and you compare it to what we all went through back in the day in 1982, 1992, I'm like, it sucks, but you guys have running water, you guys have electricity, you guys have Wi-Fi, you guys have cell phones. Back then, we didn't have cell phones, or if we did, it might have been what, a pager or a flip phone.
Hmm.
We weren't concerned about education because we had no electricity. We didn't have access to water, and so what's going on now, I think we just have to really stop and just make solid decisions for our families that works for us. I know if I can survive. Okay, Karen, imagine going to the stadium to take a shower by the water pipe. Because there's no running water by your house, but then the running water is like at the county, like parks and like facilities. And so
It's
now you
crazy.
ask people like me and Alexis and anybody who was impacted in Hawaii by the hurricane, like how do you deal with this whole educational thing? Is like you look at your schedule, you look at your child, and you
Mm-hmm.
make hard decisions. And regardless if it has to be distance learning, you enrolling them in homeschooling, or maybe they go back to school part time, you don't compare your decision for your family to other people's decisions. Because on Facebook, for example, my friends are asking like, oh, what are your plans? Is your child going to go to school? Are they going to do distance learning? Are they going to homeschool? And I'm being honest, I'm not judging anybody. I just happen to have I'm able to have kind of study from home, distance learning through his middle school. But his best friend, his mom can't. She doesn't have that ability to homeschool him because she has to go work, go to work, whereas I work from home. And so because there's social media, a lot of times we can just compare our lives to other people's lives. And then as a parent, sorry, I'm on koi. Can you hear the rooster?
Love it.
After hurricane, back in 1992, guys, let me just give you a quick history. We have a lot of people who like to what do you call, not collect, but house chickens and roosters for personal reasons. Some people like to chicken fight. Anyways, so when 1992 happened, the hurricane happened, all the roosters and the chickens that were in cages, they went buckaloos, and now they're all over. Sometimes I have like 20 in my yard,
Wow.
and they're not mine. They're just cruising like with their babies. So that's why when I'm recording a live or doing a podcast, this is Kauai.
That is funny.
Yes, after Iki. And see, that's an example. You just adapt. Like we never knew this was going to be an issue having chickens and roosters like amok Kauai. Yeah, so like I think as parents, with the educational system and just what's going on, we knew for each state, kind of the DOE, the Department of Education, kind of gave us fair warning. Most likely, this is what we're gonna do. The kids might have to come back into the school system, like show up to class. So that is a signal. And I had this discussion with my mom. They're signaling to the parents now, a month before school starts, that most likely your kid will have to go to school. So the option becomes, I know, crazy, yeah. The option becomes one, my kid is going to go back to school according to what that school they're in decides. Two, you can do distance learning if it's an option, and it may not be an option. Or three, you do homeschooling. And I get it, it's not easy because of our our schedules, our families, and whatnot. However, it's your life, and you make the necessary sacrifices for your child. You know, as a single mom, I became divorced when my son was 2 years old. I was living in Japan, and I relocated from Japan to Hawaii. We moved there from Oahu to Japan for my ex-husband's job associated to the military. And then we came back. I didn't sign up to become divorced. I didn't sign up to become a single parent, but I did. I was scared, and I just did the best that I could. And now he's 13 years old, about to enter into eighth grade. And so it's really up to us as parents what we want to do. I decided to sign him up to do distance learning just to give at least a quarter or two for adjusting, and then I can integrate him back if that's the option. But I'm not gonna judge anybody who's not able to do distance learning, because depending on your child, the needs, and my son was in online schooling for the first 2 quarters last year, just because when he went into sixth grade at the middle school, he dealt with harassment, and like physical harassment and verbal, and I had to get the police involved at some point. uh, I just had to make a hard decision going into seventh grade for him to do online schooling. And so of course I had anxiety because I didn't know if he was going to be a good student online, and I didn't know the school is based in Oahu. He was required to fly over, like every so many months he had to fly by himself to Oahu. But those 2 quarters, I was I was unsure what was gonna happen. He did fine. He absolutely did fine. Integrate him back into his middle school, and then the pandemic hit. So he actually went to middle school on Kauai for like a month and a half, and then that was it. That was his whole seventh grade, and so now he's going into eighth grade. Um, so yeah, that's basically what I've learned in life is you just roll with it. You do the best that you can. If it's not working, then you pivot and
Mm-hmm.
you do what you gotta do. Oh, thank you. So yeah, did you have any questions?
I wanted you to share, what about your son adjusting to, like from a physical classroom? He probably welcomed the online learning because you said he just really flourished, right? I mean, I think kids are resilient and more open-minded, you think?
So let me just explain something. And then this is what I learned because I went to college. When you go into a physical setting, it's you just go and you leave. When you are online, it takes a discipline because it depends on the school and it depends on the teachers. Um, they have different schedules. They have certain times he has to sign in, like this,
Mm-hmm.
and and there was like certain instances where he missed it. So every week they send out the email. So you have to check your email. So you have to be on top of it. And then he has to follow through with doing his assignments. It was hard, but it was worth it because he needed that time to transition because sixth grade dealing with the being verbally physically assaulted on campus at the end of the year, he just was over it. My son is like one of the tallest kids in his class, but he's a gentle giant. He's just one of those kids that, he just enjoys life. He listens and he's just chill. But the kids that are smaller, they see him as a target because he's not a violent person. He's not like that. And it's unfortunate because Koi is small, everybody kind of knows everybody, and so really upsetting for me. But he decided he wanted to do online schooling, and it just worked out because he flies to Oahu every month, and he's able to do online schooling when he's on Oahu and then on Kauai. So he's not like has to be on Kauai.
Mm-hmm.
But it was hard, but he figured it out. He's smart because he's a gamer, and he learned he does a lot of self teaching with YouTube. So if your child loves YouTube, he likes to watch science. Um, he likes to learn how to play video games. Um, he's one of those kids who likes to watch. When you watch movies, they tell you the mistakes in the Disney movies.
Oh,
They call it the
the
A. I forgot what
bloopers?
it's called.
Like, so
No,
sometimes
it's
there's
something.
bloopers and sometimes it's like behind the
Yes, the
scenes
blue.
kind of.
Yeah, so he likes to watch stuff. So he's really intellectual in that way, but he did fine like the first quarter adapting. He had fun going to Oahu, but what I noticed was he was bored and he was tempted to uh, just play video games, tempted to just like not watch YouTube, and we had to explain to him you study hard, you can take your lunch, eat your lunch, your snacks, then you can play.
Mm-hmm.
And so he figured it out. Like he finally had to find his groove, but we just felt that like his socialization with other students and the teachers would be beneficial. He was averaging like a 3.5, so his grades was high. So I wasn't worried about him academically. I just wanted him to be integrated back with his friends, which thankfully he was able to keep in touch with them through his PS4, like the gaming system.
So any specific suggestions for parents who are just, they're scared, they're frustrated? Yeah, I think Alexa just said her son is a self-learner, gamer, teaching himself, yeah, on his own. And I think a lot of kids are so resilient. The challenge probably is what's going to happen if they're unable to discipline themselves. So as parents, I thought that was a great thing. You kind of explained the routine. You just explained like this is how it's going to be.
Yeah,
You have a
so
schedule.
I made sure he still had his like bedtime, and then he had to wake up by a certain time. Initially, what we did was he had to go to a certain part of the house, like the kitchen table. Yeah. So then it triggers him, okay, I'm in school mode. And so like even with this coming new year, we
Mm-hmm.
have two living rooms. He knows there's a desk that's designated for him to do schoolwork. So when he wakes up, okay, I gotta go to school, then his mind is set on, okay, I'm in school mode. And no YouTube, no video games. You're just gonna focus. Um, because the school is still adapting, because that's not what the school was meant for for distance
Right.
learning. Their style, like the last 2 quarters, they weren't really knowledgeable as the online school he went to on Oahu. And so my son would do his homework like fast because the structure wasn't as strict and detailed as the other school. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm predicting my son is just gonna adapt really well because he went through a really rigorous educational expectations for the online school. It's called Myron B. Thompson. I really like the school. The teachers are fabulous, great in communication with the students and us. So I highly recommend it. They provide the laptop. It's a charter school based in Oahu, but it's for all islands. But yeah, it's fine. I think, I struggle with anxiety. I can worry and want to be in control. I did get diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder back in 2006 after my sister had been in a car accident and she died. Um, I just say go day to day.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow isn't here yet. We don't know what's going to happen. Yesterday's over. Our kids are probably more adaptable than we are, so our fears is not their fears.
Exactly.
They're so brave and
Mm-hmm.
just so my son, like even when we moved to Hawaii, back to Kauai, I thought he was gonna miss his dad, and he didn't. He didn't. I was a stay-at-home mom for the first 3 years, and so he was close to me, but like he would do video time with the dad, but he was happy. He was great, even with him going into the online school. I think I had more anxiety than him. He was fine. He had no problem. He knew how to navigate himself. I'm like, oh, all my worries was for nothing. He just he loves to learn,
Mm-hmm.
and he just figured it out. At certain times, certain subjects wasn't his strong point, but he had to learn to take initiative to ask for help. And the teachers are great because they knew it was his first year going into an online distance learning um, situation, and so they're really understanding. There was only 3 students from Kauai that was in this school,
Wow.
and he was the only male in
Oh,
his grade
wow.
level. Yeah, and the other two were females. And so the teachers are really kind and understanding, and I think that's what makes it easier for the students is the teachers are understanding, and then they allow the students time to adapt. So
I've tutored
it's
kids from that's an excellent homeschool, Myron B. Thompson. I'm sure on the mainland or different states, wherever you are, there's a similar, homeschooling. And I think
yeah,
I love
there's
what Alexa said. You see that parents need to model what they want in their kids and be open to new things because, yeah, Chelsea reminds me all the time. Well, aren't we supposed to, embrace our fears? Are we supposed to have faith? And I thought, yes, but I'm being human. I am fearing Facebook Live tomorrow. I am fearing technical difficulties, but I'm supposed to practice faith.
Thanks for the reminder, Chelsea. So I think we can learn a lot from our kids too, because we're the ones getting all stressed out, and
we're not even
some
the
of
one
them,
in the situation.
we're
Yeah,
not
like
even a student in the classroom, but we empathize. We just put ourselves and think, oh my gosh, it's going to be horrible. And some of my students are like, yes, I don't have to physically go to school. I can do distance learning in my pajamas. I can have really good lunch, Miss Karen. I don't have to eat the crappy.
see,
So
like
it's
you see their
interesting,
their mentality is different from
their
ours.
mentality. Yes,
He,
totally different.
my son, if he had to say he would go back to school, like
Hmm.
physically, um, what I explained to him, the only our girls remind us how to act. Love, yes, they do. It's all mindset. Yeah, they're so
Yes.
young. They're not. They don't deal with the same mental blocks that we do. Uh, he prefers to go back to school, but because we reside with his my parents, his grandparents, and my dad had to go through some surgery years ago. I explained to him, kind of, if you get this COVID-19 and you bring it home, it could impact your grandparents, and
Hmm.
we don't know what would happen to them. And so that's why I need you to understand that it's only temporary. And then, depending how it goes, you can always go back. And he's cool with it. Like we've talked about it, and he's conversed with me and I've conversed with him. So it's like, although he would prefer that option, he understands in the whole scheme of things because he really loves his grandparents. Like he wouldn't want them to be exposed to it, and he
Hmm.
understands that if he's exposed to it, it's likely that they would get exposed. So he's willing to sacrifice seeing his friends because he talks to them almost every day on his PS4. So he understands that it's temporary for the sake of his grandparents. And so I think
When I
just
think that's what you just
communicating.
said, right? It's temporary, and I think because I have some kids who just really, want to go to school, but because you know how they're doing like
Mhm.
Milani, it's like only certain people will go there. So if you have a friend who has a different day from you, but
Which is
reminding
gonna
them that
happen.
it's right, but that it's just temporary. I think there might be, right, 8 to 10 kids in class, max 20. Well, what if you don't see your friends, but knowing like what you just said, it's all
Well,
temporary
and my
and just,
my son, he has a tendency to have that with his friends. Like they're not in the same
oh, they're
class.
never
Like
in his class.
he flew to Oahu to do the Kamehameha summer school
Oh, the
program,
exploration. Hmm.
and his best friend and him were on the same track the same week. They did not hang out once, and so it was torture because they could see each other from a distance with the other group.
But they couldn't hang out.
So he's like, no, never again. I'm like, did you have fun? He goes, no, I didn't get to hang out with him. I'm like, oh my god, you made friends. He's like, no, I don't like him. I'm like, ah, he
I have to
did
share
fine.
what
And
we did. You know what we did? We sent Chelsea to the Waianae one. She was the only one. Everyone's like, where are you from, Mililani? Well, why are you here? But we wanted her to experience something totally different. And so she enjoyed it. She didn't even know what Waianae looked like, what was there. And so at the end, she realized, they were like, what's Waianae? And we're like, oh my gosh, his child has to. So now we're like driving around different places, and
yeah,
she gets, Waipahu mixed up with Kaneohe, mixed up with, because if you don't really, right? Somebody's just in the car, you
yeah.
see these places, but I think it's really good to put yourself, right? The one time we sent her to the Big Island, she didn't know. I'm like, look at the paper. Wait, what? I have to catch the plane? But I think if we, you know, introduce our kids to different experiences, and this is one experience we have no control over it, but look at it like you said with a positive mindset.
We,
And Alexis was
yes,
saying, right?
we just gotta, as parents,
Yeah.
life happens. Like the hurricane hit our Kauai, and you know what? Honestly, I'd rather it hit our island. It hit our island than Oahu, because you guys had like this false tsunami warning, and I swear you guys didn't know what to do with yourselves.
Oh yeah,
I
we
was
were
on
like, oh my
Oahu,
gosh, we're
and
gonna
they're
die,
like,
we're gonna
"Oh my
die. Yeah,
god,
yeah.
yeah, they're gonna die." I'm like, because you guys have all these buildings, and then the electricity was out, so you guys are not able to use elevators. So if people are in those tall towers in Honolulu area or like Pearl City, they were stuck, in these buildings. So part of me was like, Hi, Oahu people. I don't know if you guys could handle a hurricane because what we went through on Kauai is like us. We were just like woohoo. We just get to hang out with each other. You know, like we just bonded as a community. We bonded. We made the
Mm-hmm.
best of it. So like with this whole pandemic, and Alexis understands. Uh, it is what it is. You just roll with it. You do what you have to do. Maybe you put your kid in, and then there's situations where maybe there is worst case scenario. There is a case in the school. Okay, so then now the kid has to do like homeschooling. What do? You have a job. Then you guys just got to figure it out. When you get
Mm-hmm.
to that bridge, when you get to that point, then you deal with it. But until you hit that point, you just focus on this moment, do what makes you happy, your child happy, and that's it. I I look at my past and how far I've come, and I look at today. I'm like, I'm just grateful. We have electricity. We have running water. Like we take that for granted. People in foreign countries, they're not caring about pandemic education. They're just trying to survive.
Right.
Where's my next meal? I don't have access to clean water. I gotta go get water, boil my water. Like that's real. But we tend to be spoiled. We tend to be spoiled, and
Definitely.
I think I'm not undermining the fears and insecurities that parents and teachers and children can feel. I just think that you do what is best for you and your family and not worry what other people are doing. And then you adapt and you sacrifice what you have to do to be able to make it work, you know?
Well, it sounds like having a positive mindset that it will work. So choosing faith instead of fear, and just
Yes.
knowing, because I think Chelsea decided to go to Leeward, and two of our classes to be announced, which is like what's going to happen. It's the two classes that will be on campus. The other
Yeah.
two are online, and you can't plan for it to be announced. I
Oh,
think
like
right
they don't know
now
what
they
day
don't
and
know.
time
Yeah, they
or
don't know what's
how
going
they're
to
gonna.
happen. Yeah, and will they change it to online? It's no, it's being
Oh,
like promoted as a physical on campus, but it's like you said, it is what it is, and we cannot worry about what we have absolutely no control over. But instead of panicking, show our kids, you know what? Like Alexis is saying, be a model, a role model, and say, okay, I'm not panicking. Because once our kids see us panicking, they're gonna think, okay, if they're panicking, we better panic. You know what I mean?
right. No, it's true. It's true because they feed off of our energy. So if
Yeah.
we're giving off anxiety and fear and worry, they're gonna feel that maybe they have to feel that way. I think one of the tips that I've learned also with life, because I went through a lot of trauma growing up. My sister died from being in a vehicle accident in 2001. And then I had another family member in a vehicle accident. Um, and then I had two grandparents die from cancer. Um, I've learned that comedy and humor has gotten me through the most toughest times because I can cry, but eventually I gotta laugh because
Mm-hmm.
I cannot just if I continue staying like fully crying and deep, I'll get depressed and I'll be of no use to my child. And so, in order for me to feel sadness and happiness, I have to rely on music and comedy. And that's why I refer to you to Dry Bar Comedy. So my
Oh,
energy is
yeah, that
low.
comedy channel has saved my life, has saved my marriage, has saved my sanity, because it's amazing how your mood though can change in a heartbeat. Like Chelsea had a really hard day working at the grocery store. I said, you know what? Play a funny video, listen to your song, and then I heard her laughing within like 10 minutes, and I thought, isn't it amazing that all we need is like music or a movie or just anything. I love that comedy, just right. You just have to listen to maybe a 4-minute comedy sketch. You're laughing and you're thinking, wow,
Yeah,
you went
so
from,
Alexis is act. asking. So
Oh,
Alexis,
here's an,
so
okay, share the dry bar
they
comedy
have
parenting tip. This is a parenting tip.
they have an app, or you can just go on YouTube and put in the word dry bar comedy, and then we like to look up the ones about parenting. So there's
Mm-hmm.
moms and there's dads, like, so there's men and women. They even do like teachers, whatnot. And oh, he said, oh, Mele is the best. Oh yeah, or you can find like local comedians. But Andy Bumata has this show too, guys, on YouTube. Like he regularly goes on live. Also, Andy Bumatai. Um, so yeah, comedy helps. Like you can laugh, cry, like you're still dealing with your feelings, but you're not all pent up, like, so yeah,
Right,
I've
right,
learned to
right.
just laugh, like, oh, okay, when the electricity went out, I was like, oh, I don't want to tell Karen, she's gonna panic.
Yeah, because that happened before with the day Alexis was going to go on. And then
And
the
then
day
you've been
Yoli
having
went
technical
on.
activity.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Technical. I guess
So I
that's what
said,
teaches us, though, right? It is what it
yes,
is.
yeah, it is. I mean, I don't know if it's a quiet thing, Alexis, remember, it is what it is.
Yeah. Well,
you,
that's
you just
Thomas. My
take it.
husband always, yeah, says that. And then it's like if you accept it rather than resist and right, the local is monku monku, the Japanese for just complain about it. You're not gonna go anywhere but get sucked into that negative, like, oh my God, the world is ending. And then you
Right,
remember,
and it
wait,
doesn't.
it doesn't end. I think one time I did the whole parenting tip video and then I made a mistake and I said parenting tip 5 instead of 6. And Chelsea heard me go, oh my gosh. And she goes, Mom, you sound like it's the end of the world. Don't you just have to re-record it? I'm like, yeah, but I kind of didn't want to do that. But it gives you perspective. It is not the end of the world, but it feels like the end of the world
Well, I
sometimes.
mean, if things change, like say like the school starts in August, right?
Right.
What is the worst case scenario? They realize we gotta push it back.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Then they push it back. You know, um, I guess because I'm a single parent, I'm fortunate to have my parents, but I know a lot of single parents because we seem to find each other. Um, what they do is, because they gotta work, and then things pop up, like the kids get sick or whatever. You just find a solution, a creative solution to doing what you gotta do for your family. Um, but you just deal with it when it comes up. I think a lot of times we anticipate all the bad, but the bad
Exactly.
doesn't even happen. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, roll with it.
Roll with it. Exactly.
Yes, George, roll with it. Alexis, roll with it. Don't worry, be happy. I mean,
And creative
things
solutions pop,
happen.
yeah, don't you think creative solutions pop up? I mean, my in Japan you cannot take the day off. My cousin, 4 years, had a 4-year-old, no day off at all. She was really sick, and then she just shared with a friend, and her friend said, you know what, bring your son over, I'll give him a bath. This happened like last year before the pandemic and everything, and she was like, okay, I just need half an hour. So you dropped your son off, her friend fed him, gave him a bath, and all she needed was half an hour. But can you imagine? I mean, you don't realize that there are resources out there, but it's a matter of, I mean, right here, like I'm trying to offer resources. You're out there helping people who've suffered trauma. And I think just lean on each other, right? Do you
Yes,
think?
you need a community, and because of the pandemic, it's gonna have to be virtually or limited people because you don't want to be exposed to too many people, right? Um,
Right.
just be humble and reach out. If you're on Instagram, uh, was it Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, or even Google. You look up what you need. So if like grief and loss support, you just type it in. There's blogs, there's websites, there's ways for us to connect. We have no excuse because on the internet it provides opportunity for us to connect. And some of the people that you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, like me and you, we're soul sisters. How do you tell everybody how we met,
So
Karen?
I purchased a program from this guy in Sweden on how to build an online course. He tells me there's someone on Hawaii that you might want to connect. So on March 22nd, I remember Okay, I'll connect with her. What's her name? And I don't even know how. Deslynn Jaquias. Okay, someone from Kauai. So I message you. It's like 5:30 in the morning, and you happen to be up. And we've been connecting almost every day since March. But people, in our Rush Wahine group are like, "Oh, you guys know each other forever?" No, we've known each other since March. And then Alexis enters my life. Two people from Kauai, my favorite island. Well, don't tell my husband that. He's from Maui. But it's just amazing how the internet brings the people you need, and it's like a support group worldwide. So can you tell
No,
people how they can
totally.
find you? How can they find you if they need a compassion master in their
Ah!
life?
Oh yeah, guys. I'm gonna be the most compassionate, non-judgmental person you'll ever come across. You can find me on Facebook. I launched a podcast last year in dedication to my sister. Uh, it's called Healing with Aloha. It's on Spotify, Anchor.fm, on Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. It's on 8 platforms, so you can follow my podcast. It's real people, real stories. Karen just got. If you go back in the group, Karen was just featured. That episode is episode 23. She was my featured special guest. On Facebook, I have 2 business pages. It's Healing with Aloha podcast. On the other one, it's the Deslynn Jaquias. And I'm also on Instagram and on TikTok.
Yeah,
Healing
give
with
your TikTok
Aloha.
name. How
Ah!
can they find you
So
on
on
TikTok?
so if you want to do TikTok and you've never, I'm gonna tell you guys right now. So initially it was teenagers, but it's 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 had years in. So now you have adults on there that do inspiration, tips and tricks, how to cook, music, dance, um, people who do inspirational speaking. The people on there, they're more accepting. So you know how like on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook, you tend to be more proper, like professional. Well, on TikTok, it's more acceptable for you to be that crazy side of you, like woo, like do like videos, comedy. You can do deep stuff. People share real life stuff that they've been through, trauma, and then you connect because the people on TikTok, they just seem to be more open minded, more vulnerable. There's no shame, Alexis, on TikTok. So people assume, oh, it's only for dancing and music. But a lot of businesses have been transitioning onto TikTok, and people who are music related, like George, it looks like you're a musician or a singer.
Hmm.
And Alexis, I know Alexis, you're a teacher and you do hula. It's actually a great platform for you because there's so many people like you. They do have hashtags, and oh, girl, I don't know if you can handle
Of
them.
course, they can handle you.
Alexis, on there, you can find people like you. You can crack yourself up like, oh my gosh, these are my people.
And
I, I,
Declan
I have,
forced me to go on, right? And so now you can follow me and Chelsea, my daughter. She's like, we
so
are going to do a TikTok right now. I'm like, no, I don't do that. But now Chelsea just asked me, can we do another TikTok, Mom? So I think today, after my tutoring, we're going to do a TikTok. It's
yeah,
a great
guys.
way to relieve stress. I mean,
Yeah.
George, you
So
should play the
mine's is,
drums.
yeah, George. You should go on there because there's a lot of musicians.
Hmm.
And then if you create your own music, George, your clip, they can use your sound clip and they can promote your music for you also.
Yeah,
And then they direct it. It's if you
it's
sing,
fun.
if you dance, if like that is the
Alexis, I
place.
want to find my people. Your people are waiting for you, Alexis.
Alexa, you know this. You know this so funny. So I was on the app for like 3 years because my cousin's son signed me up, but I never used it because I was like, "What is this?" Like, I'm a dancer, guys. I love to sing and whatnot, but it was like I don't know what they're doing. I love it because you can do editing, guys. So you can do filter editing. You can add words. You can it's a great it's a let's just say it's a virtually fun place. And if you're shy, you can do your post privately. So like how on Instagram or Facebook,
The Chinese hacking. Remember how? Yeah,
George,
remember there was
George, too
rumor.
late. I don't know if you know, Facebook's been hacked many times. And the new I think CEO, the person they just hired is from America. That they get people who do
Yep,
hula to fusion,
Hula.
African that they have everything on there.
Yeah, and then
And
Alexa said you can edit. You can edit. We've done like 7 different, like when Chelsea and I do our little Michael Bublé song, or holding the cat, and the cat's like jumping out of our arms. Okay, take 1, take 2, take 38, and it's fun. I mean, it's 15 seconds, or what is it? 30 seconds of fun,
you can
right? You get to
do,
choose
Alexis, you
15.
can do 15 seconds or you can
Yeah.
do 60 seconds. And then, Alexis, if you find somebody who crack you up and you like duet with them, you can take their video, and if they allow you to, you can press the word duet and you're side by side with the person doing the hula.
Yeah, I gotta learn how to
Or
do that. Well,
yeah,
then Chris
I'll show you how
just
to.
shared, yeah, Chris Hewitt. Yeah, I tutored her daughter, gosh, when she was 10, and now I think she's in her early 20s. But it's interesting how, we're all connecting. What did she say? Oh,
She's oh, I can do moonwalk.
oh my gosh, the
You guys,
moonwalk. Okay, George, let's see you do the moonwalk to a Michael Jackson song and do a TikTok on it. You got to come up with a TikTok name now.
so FYI, I'm helping Karen right now. So Karen needs more special guests. So I
Yes.
nominate George. I nominate Alexis because she has to finish hers, and I nominate Chris. Because
Yeah,
you
well,
don't have to
actually,
talk about only parenting.
I'm interviewing Alexis, and then I'll so it won't be live. So I think sometimes it's easier. So if you want to
Oh yeah, if you do
be
Zoom,
interviewed via Zoom, and then I can share it on Mama's Gotta Let Go. If you want to be really
yes,
brave and just do what we
yeah.
do right here, just show up and see what happens, like Death.
So I used to teach hip hop, and then I used to teach Zumba. You know the Zumba fitness. Look, Alexis, I
Nominate George.
nominate
Nominate
George.
Kyoki. Yes.
George, if you do music, maybe in the group you can share how beneficial it is to expose your children to music,
Yes.
art. Because I used to be a performing arts director for the YMCA on Oahu, and the kids love performing arts. It's such a great outlet.
So, and George is not only musically inclined, but he did, that chalk art on the sidewalks. There's
Yeah?
actually a chalk festival or something, a chalk art festival. And
Are
he
you
would
serious?
actually, yeah, in California. And I think they canceled it, unfortunately, this past
What
year.
is
But
he?
every year, go on his Facebook, George West, and
Okay.
in his photos, you can actually see these elaborate designs made from chalk on the sidewalk. So you know that it's going to
Wow.
disappear, right? Eventually, but
Yeah.
these people from all over actually, do their art, and people come in, and it's a festival.
Oh,
So
we
I
should
think
do
you
that in
should, yeah,
Hawaii
you
because
should do
we've been
a,
doing more murals, but the
yeah,
chalk sounds
yeah.
good.
I mean, we have people outside. A few months ago, we had kids who said, stay strong or be happy, and they wrote on the road and on the
Yes, I've
on
seen
the
that.
sidewalk. Yes, but I think if we do a TikTok on it, or do a little tutorial. Eight
Yeah,
years in
guys,
a
if
row.
you.
Yeah, it's called Chalk It Up. Chalk It Up in
Oh,
California, and
wow.
it's 8 years in a row that he does the Chalk It Up annual event.
And you know what? I have chalk. I need to use it, so I need inspiration. I should check it out.
Yeah, do Chalk
So,
It Up
George,
art.
I was
And
married.
it's
My
fun.
ex-husband's from Sacramento. My honeymoon was in Lake Tahoe. It was so pretty, Lake Tahoe. Have you been to Lake Tahoe, Karen?
Yeah, for my 21st birthday, long, long time ago.
We gotta go. I want to stay at a cottage and take Kainoa to go skiing.
Yes, we're
That would
we'll
be
do
so
it
fun.
together. Yeah, because we've never met. Jess and I have never met in person. It's so odd. We talk practically
Alexis,
every
you know
day over the
me.
phone.
My who was it talking to? I was like, I'm so friendly. I could make friends with a rock.
I believe that. And The Rock would come alive with confidence. The Rock will like turn into some animated 3D character. But
No,
anyway, thank
Jar.
you, Dad. Wait,
Yeah, you're
I'll talk
welcome,
to you
guys.
guys
If
in
you need to get a
Sacramento.
hold of me, you guys can just friend me on
Yeah.
Facebook because you can see my information over here. I'm gonna be hosting like workshops to do like confident mindset. I'm gonna utilize art and music. And if you know anybody who needs like grief and loss support, definitely guide them to the Healing with Aloha podcast Facebook page because I go live every Thursdays. I go live at what time is it? Oh, 8:30
Eight.
a.m. Hawaii time. And then on Fridays, I go live on Instagrams at 8 a.m. every Fridays. And it's just because I have a podcast, it's all over the world, and I want people to meet me and know that, yeah, I articulate well, I can speak good English, but my first language is actually Pidgin. And so I've had to learn how to adapt. And I know you guys know because you guys both live in the mainland, but
Yeah, so let's
you
close with the
learn to
pigeon
adapt.
quote. Yes. Can you close with the pigeon quote?
Close it up. Oh my goodness.
Come on, you're Toastmasters queen. Just close with the pigeon quote for
Wait,
parents.
okay. Wait. What? Okay,
Some kind
to
of
the
relaxed
parents.
quote, maybe, or the kind.
Nah,
George said the
I'm
kind.
just gonna say to the parents, you are the bestest in the westest. Meaning like you are above everybody else. So don't even stress about other people. Whoever's listening to this, you're the bestest in the westest. That's what it. Oh, we're the bestest in the westest, right, Alexis? I think if
Definitely.
you um, understand and be confident in who you are, you shouldn't fear people's judgment of you. You just take 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 the best and do the best that you can. And when the hard times come, you just deal with it, roll with it. Like
Roll with
George said,
it.
just roll with it. Life is too
I love
short,
it.
guys. Hard times are gonna come. We're all gonna mock it, but
Yeah,
we
Maki.
just
See,
make
that's your quote. We all going Maki, so
we
let's
all
roll
gonna
with
mock
it.
it. No need be shocked. We all gonna mock it one day.
Oh,
But
can you
for
translate
today,
Maki to the mainland
oh,
people? And I have some UK people
oh,
who watch Mama's Gotta Let Go. What is Maki?
oh, mock it means to die. It looks like make make, but it means to die.
Which is
It's
why
broken
you
English,
make the
guys.
best like Make coach. You're not Make, but you give great advice. And I know I'm going to lean on you when my mom is not doing well. Everyone who knows me, my mom has Alzheimer's, but whenever I feel down, Jess always lifts me up. And I think yeah, if any one of you are you're going through grief, it doesn't have to be a loss of a life or right. It can be loss of just your security and the loss of feeling that it's going to be okay. Just
Yes.
losing that is a process to grieve.
If you guys need a cheerleader, I'm the one.
Jess is major cheerleader, an actual cheerleader, a what track master, a compassionate master, confidence master. I would not be doing this actually without Death, with all your fault that I stress out every Wednesday. But please, if you want to be brave and join me on a future Facebook Live, I do have someone next Wednesday. But you know what? Otherwise, you're going to just hear me talk, which is not, I don't know. I'd rather
I
have a
see
guest than me.
George says that he's raising a
He's
son, an
raising an
autistic son.
autistic son, same age as Sabrina, 24. So
Okay.
I've known George since I think Sabrina was like 14. And we both know Daryl Kondo, who also is raising a special needs child. So I think that's a community that really needs a lot of support. If you have an only child
Yeah.
and you're a single dad, single mom, it's like, who do you lean to in order to, deal with the fears
Children,
and the uncertainty?
adults with autism. I work with the children in the DOE for almost 4 years on Oahu and Kauai. I love my kids. Well, I work with a lot of kids for 10 years. Yeah. But you know what? Like they have such a purity about them. The children, like children with autism, um, they just have a purity. I wish people could learn more from them and how how they see life, and the simple things matter and stuff like that. So I'd like to see you come
Yeah,
on
you know
live,
what?
George.
George should come on live with his son, right? Come on live with Alec and just go with the flow, roll with it, and see what
Yeah,
happens.
you guys
Because I
could
think
do the
that's what we
Zoom. The
need
Zoom.
is to.
Oh, he said he's very mellow and happy.
Oh yeah, you should. Yeah, go on George West's page. I mean, they go on walks together. His son loves country music, and it's just. What did she say?
Makes my life a bit. Yes, you definitely challenged. He said hard to meet one. Eh, you can cook, you can clean, and you a good father. Go, trust me. You
You're gonna
think
have a
it's
flock
hard.
of women. You're gonna have a flock. He wants to meet a hula dancer. He's gonna have hula dancers galore, right? What?
Right. He might like Zoom.
Oh, he might
Yeah,
like
the Zoom might be
zooming. Yeah,
better.
you know what? We should do that. Yeah, we can do the zooming thing and then do many retakes and then post. And yeah, so anyone watching this, reach out. I have what, 200 and over 200 people. I just need like maybe 3 for the next few.
Yeah, I just focus like ahead, like little
Yeah,
at a
just
time.
1 week. Yeah.
And then if any of you are inspired to be on my podcast, we deal with grief and loss support. We address self-care, healing, and mental health. Uh, you don't have to be a therapist or a professional. You just share your real life stories. You don't even have to have a following on Instagram and whatnot. It's just talk stories. I'm gonna do it in Zoom. Um, so if anybody's interested in being on a podcast, we've gone as far as to the UK, New Zealand, uh, Philippines that are listening, Africa. And so if you guys want to be on a podcast, you can use Pigeon English. You don't have to only speak English, but you guys are welcome to contact me to be on my podcast.
And George, we
But
can do a Zoom tutoring. He said, I never done it yet. Super easy. If
oh
I
yeah,
can learn it, we'll do a
she'll do
TikTok.
practice run.
Yeah, we'll do a practice run, and then you can work with Jess to do a TikTok video tutorial.
Yeah, you guys can just message me if you guys want to learn to do TikTok. I can teach you guys. It's really fun. I
And
can
she is the
tell
greatest instructor.
George is real creative. Okay, yeah, you'll love it. I have a lot of people I follow that are photographers and artists, and they just go live doing paintings, or they give tips like how to zoom in on a photo. Like, it's fun. The people who are musicians, artists, and photographers, they thrive on TikTok. It's acceptable like to be like that. And then Alexis is gonna love it because she gonna find people who are more animated
You're
and
gonna
more
find your
comical than
people,
her.
Alexis. Oh, see, he had
Oh
many
yeah.
invites.
Oh yeah. You know what, George? Just go on. You can just put yourself on private mode,
Yeah.
and then people won't know you're on. Like they'll see, but they can't add you unless you let them. You know what I mean? But you can go private. Just mess around with the. Oh, go on YouTube and put in tips to start TikTok, and then they'll tell you. But you guys can keep it on private, like on Instagram. You can be private, so people can't see your posts. It's
Well, this was
possible.
fun. Yeah, it wasn't just healing with Aloha. It was a little TikTok tutorial. It was life tutorial. It was a little pigeon tutorial.
Encouraging.
Yes, definitely.
Well,
Well,
thank
thank
you
you
so much
so
for
much.
having me.
Thank you. Okay. Till next week. And oh, the uke. Yeah, we can have a little mini concert. Yeah.
Ah,
He's not shy. So we'll
yes.
have a Zoom interview. We'll have George play the uke, and we'll have his son, and then I can watch, post it on Mama's Gotta Let Go. So, and then anyone interested, please.
Alexis, you lie. Look,
Oh
Alexis,
my
I'm
gosh,
shy.
Alexis is the
Alexis,
farthest from shy ever. Yeah, Chris.
Alexis, you lie. You lie. Chris, are you gonna go on TikTok? How's us peer pressure?
Yeah.
See,
It's
I
motivational. Yeah, Chris does Arbonne, and that's a great way. I bet you can do Arbonne. You can do whatever you
oh
want.
yeah,
Do a
you
little
can do like
TikTok
minute
thing,
1 minute. You can do mini
1 minute
demos of
using.
music. Chris.
Yeah, using your products and music and the product, and there you go. So we're encouraging you to do TikToks. Follow us. I think I'm Karen Gibson 82. I'm not sure. Chelsea made my name.
Yeah, you guys can put it on private, use the
Yeah.
editing for TikTok, and then use those videos on Facebook and Instagram. So people don't even have to see you on TikTok. You can just use the editing because it's free for videos,
Mhm.
and it has music and filters. Karen's catching on real fast, guys.
I
Yeah.
have the best teacher. I have the best teacher. Des is not only a confidence builder, but a great, because I had no idea how to use Instagram, no idea how to use TikTok. So between Des and Chelsea, I feel like maybe I'm third grade at that level. Hopefully, I'll be in the high school
the
mode.
oldest the oldest person I follow on TikTok, guys, is in a senior center like home, so like in their 70s or 80s. So there's no excuse
You
for us
see, no
middle
excuse.
aged
And it's
people.
not, yeah, and it's not just for silly, you know how they, right, they have silly stuff, but there's inspirational stuff, there's comedy. And so, Kate, we
Yes,
are
grandmas
on
and grandpas
TikTok.
can be on there. You guys
Yeah,
can't
grandmas and
have tell
grandpas
me you
can go
can't do it.
on. We can do it. Okay,
Like
well,
the
thank
Kai,
you
like, did you
guys.
even get Kate? Okay, guys, have a good day.
Okay, take care.
Aloha.
Bye.
Bye.